Hey everybody, Berat from AstartesGaming here, back with another Bannerlord dev blog video. So today we're going to be checking out the one that was posted today with the lead programmer of the single-player campaign development team. And so let's go ahead and scroll down and learn a little bit more about her. So she joined in 2012, which is after Warband release. So she didn't work on the original development of Warband. However, she might have been involved in some of the expansions, so she's been with them a fair amount of time, basically since Bannerlord was announced. So she's probably been involved throughout the entire development, but I mean, who can say? And as I said, she's the lead programmer of the single-player campaign team. And so what does she do during the day? Mostly she works on non-battle scenes like tournaments, towns, villages, taverns, and etc. For NPC agents, she works directly with the animators. They're trying to make them feel as real as possible so that you get the sense of a living world when you walk around the streets of towns and villages. So hopefully it's not like Warband where they're literally just like a bunch of NPCs dropped into a village walking in like a circuit, because that didn't feel real at all. Where am I? I also collaborate with the artists. I prepare scripted entities for them, and then they use these entities to prepare a scene for a game mission. Apart from that, I implement quests and work on some other campaign features. That's not important. So here we get a screenshot of a town or village. It looks good. However, we would actually need to jump in and see how things actually function. Although it looks like people are interacting with this stuff in there, which as long as they're like coming and going from those things, that should be fine. Again, in Warband you sort of had that, but it was literally somebody like stuck to a bench and they would never leave, and then these people would just walk back and forth. So hopefully in Bannerlord it's a little bit more organic than that. Somebody will come sit down to eat and then they'll maybe go inside, or I don't know, just something a little bit more organic than what we had in Warband. So what does she like most about Bannerlord? She thinks she likes the randomness of the world the most. There are factions, nobles, and notables, relations between them, settlements with different specialties. All of these aspects change from game to game, and we cannot know exactly where players will be and what they will face in that kind of unstructured gameplay. For example, our common quests are dynamically created by the current state of the world. Stupid Windows updates. This means that we don't just spawn in characters or create the conditions for a quest, but rather that the game looks to see what is currently happening and offers a mission based on what is available. That's not unique to Bannerlord, though. Warband did this, actually. If you've ever been at war with another faction, which you probably have, and talked to one of your allied vassals during that time, they may have offered you a quest to go rescue one of their family members who had been imprisoned, and that is not something that just randomly happens. The game actually checks to see if somebody's been imprisoned, and then anybody who is related to them will offer that quest. So there are several instances in Warband where the game is doing the exact same thing. However, there are instances in Warband where the game will create the conditions. For example, they will put somebody in a village for you to go find, or you know, they might spawn bandits. Actually, yeah, the looter quests, for example, from the guild masters, they will literally just spawn looters all around the town as soon as you leave it. So I'm looking forward to them doing away with some of that stuff and getting more to the organic stuff that's just, you know, basing solely on what's already happening in game. But that's not new to Bannerlord. So what is the most difficult thing that she has solved so far during the production of Bannerlord? She thinks the most difficult part is trying to keep every feature moddable. This is something that we have to constantly keep in mind while we are adding a new feature or maintaining an implemented part of the game. I like all the talk that they've been, you know, putting out there about modding. It seems like they're very, very conscious that like that is a huge part of this game, especially Warband. More people are playing a modded version of Warband than not. And I would wager that like that number is pretty high up there. I mean, I don't want to I would guess like 90% of people, if they're playing Warband, are playing modded, but I have no facts to back that up. I would just assume, based on, you know, people I talk to, that very few people are actually playing native at any point. So yeah, they're very conscious that modding is an important part of this game. And I think that's really important because it kind of is. And so other developers might just sort of write that off and be more concerned with, okay, we need to, like for example, all the games that are like so hell-bent on like DRM and microtransactions and just trying to like squeeze all of the money out of you that they can while making sure that you can't like tamper with the game files or potentially pirate it. Where these guys are going to be not quite putting out the source code like they did for Warband, but pretty close. Like, I don't think it would be too hard to get your hands on the whole game based on what they're giving us for modding. But I'm glad that they're taking it so seriously. So she's currently working on quests. Okay, that's vague. She likes the Botanians the most. She enjoys the atmosphere of their towns and villages. And have any changes been made to the recruitment system? This is where we get into the actual like information. This was the same thing on the last Q&A as well. It was all pretty much just like informationless opinion, and then at the end they threw us a little tidbit. So there have been many changes to the recruitment system. First of all, players can recruit base troops only from notables of fiefs. Some notables even provide higher level troops such as archers or infantry rather than just recruits. Depending on the relations with that particular NPC, they can provide a reduction in the recruitment costs or offer more troops for the player to hire. So now there's like a middleman. We saw this sort of in Viking Conquest where you had to talk to the village elder to recruit rather than just like walking. Like, I don't know how it worked in Warband. I mean, I know how it worked, but like the actual like real world things that are going on there, did you just like go into the village and get up on like a soapbox and be like, hey everybody, come with me if you want to fight? So yeah, no, you have to actually like talk to a person or an NPC now, and apparently your relations with that particular person will determine what sort of troops or troop quality and troop number that you're going to get. So it's basically like an in-village recruiter selling you his services, which I'm okay with. I mean, honestly, this versus the other system where it just mattered on your relations with the village, I don't see a huge difference. So this might be a little bit more immersive, but otherwise, functionally, I think it's essentially the same. However, some special troops, such as Valandian Knights, represent minor nobility. These kinds of units have completely different troop trees. In the instance of Valandian Knights, they can only be upgraded from Valandian Squires, who in turn can only be recruited from NPC nobles. With this in mind, it is wise to maintain good relations with Valandian nobles if your eventual aim is to have Valandian Knights in your party. Okay, so two important things there. We learned that factions will have multiple troop trees within them, and that certain top tier units can only be recruited from noble NPCs. So this system is very similar to one that we've seen in the Prophecy of Pendor mod, where you can recruit basic infantry and archers and all that stuff, and even light cavalry from villages, but in order to actually recruit squires, which in turn can become knights and so on, you need to talk to specific noble NPCs that I think you find in taverns. And so this is pretty much taken directly from there, even the dual troop tree thing. How many troop trees each faction has will remain to be seen. I imagine it's just going to be like regular troops and noble troops. We already know for pretty certain that the Calradian Empire, all three factions within that are going to have the same troop trees. I guess it's just a matter of how many different tiers of troops fall within that, and it's looking like 2. So then she goes on to say, however, that's not to say that you're restricted from acquiring heavy cavalry if your relations to the Valandian nobility is too poor. you will still have access to Vlandian men-at-arms, who are almost as skilled as knights, but aren't as heavily armored. Okay, so you pretty much have a complete troop tree still. You're still going to have like your heavy infantry, your heavy cavalry. It's just that the knights, at least for this faction, are a little bit better and something that you have to deal with somebody else to get. And so that's pretty much it. We didn't learn a whole lot here, but we did get some nice information on how the recruiting system will work, which is something I don't think they had talked about previously, so it was nice to have this information finally. I wish these dev blogs would give us a little bit more information, but at least they're putting something out on a regular basis, and they are, you can tell they're making like a very like conscious effort to give us like at least one real bit of information in each one of these. So it seems like at the end of every dev blog they're going to give us something that we haven't heard yet. The rest is all just like, you know, what the person eats for lunch, blah blah blah, and then at the end we'll get like one bit of information that, because remember, they're the ones writing these questions. Like, it's not like they're interviewing with, you know, GameSpot or something. This is like the in-house stuff that they're putting out. So obviously these questions are very well thought out to release the information that they want to release. And I mean, it's better than nothing. I'll take it. So yeah, that's the new recruiting system. We also have heard a little bit about how villages will work. I think this was pretty much safe to assume just from the start that they were going to be a little bit improved from Warband, and they definitely look a lot better. They look like actual, you know, natural towns. Whether or not the NPCs function naturally within them will remain to be seen. I would imagine yes, at least more so than in Warband, but again, we'll have to, you know, have some video or something to determine that. So this was our September 7th dev blog with the lead programmer of the single player campaign team. I am not even going to try to pronounce her name because I will just butcher it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time talking about some Bannerlord with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next dev blog.